Well, in Cardiff, during tonight's BBC election debate, all the participants expressed their horror at the events on London Bridge and paid tribute to the victims and the emergency services. The debate itself saw heated exchanges over Brexit, with Conservative claims they could get Brexit done being described as a lie and Labour's position branded as a cop-out. Well, our political editor, Laura Kuenssberg, is in Cardiff for us tonight. Laura.
Clive, as the technicians pack up here in Cardiff, inevitably and quite rightly probably, this debate began with a more sombre tone to reflect the events of what's happened in London. Less of the hurly-burly, less of the political pantomime that's dominated much of this election campaign so far. There were serious clashes, though, and serious conversations over the issues that divide and unite us. 7 politicians, 7 parties, all here tonight fighting for their corner.
A clash of political shades, a rainbow of 7 party colours, taking the stage together in an election with the debate taking a more serious turn. Acknowledging and asked how they would tackle the kinds of events that took place 150 miles away.
What do the panel members propose to do to tackle security issues in the UK in future?
The first duty of every government is to keep us safe. And, of course, a Conservative government will continue to do that, investing in our police, giving them the resources and the powers that they need.
We've seen over 20,000 police officers cut from frontline services. So it's right to recognise that that would have a direct impact. And, of course, we've got to invest more in community neighbourhood policing.
We have to make sure that we support our security services, that we keep access to the best intelligence, which is one of many reasons that I think leaving the European Union is a mistake.
We've set out plans to increase police numbers by 20,000. I think it's also important that we look at what the police do and that community policing.
Suggestions too, though, that the police take a different approach in preventing terrorism.
I think we need to look again at the Prevent programme, because I think we need to make sure that it is enjoying as much confidence as every single community in our country as it can, and I'm not sure right now that it is.
We must keep investing in more police and more technology, but however many police we have, and we need as many of those police as possible on the streets.
Then a clash over the 2 big parties' big differences on spending.
I think you were referred to recently in the media talking about the figure of 1.2 trillion spends, which is a fabricated lie that the Conservative Party have been perpetrating over the last few weeks.
You look at people like the IFS, respected think tanks, they've described the Labour plans as simply not credible. They've said that they're wholly unprecedented in terms of the scale...
Nicola Sturgeon?
If I could just finish, Nick,
Nicola
on the scale of spending. But they've also said very clearly it will be ordinary working families that pay the price in higher taxes.
You need to look for parties that are going to set out where they will get the money from, and we're saying very honestly we think the NHS needs more money and we're going to raise income tax by a penny in the pound in order to do so.
Then the core question, how to conclude Brexit or stop it altogether.
I was a Remain voter, but feel that we're so far along the Brexit journey now that it has to go ahead. How do those of you here this evening feel about talk of a second referendum?
We are so not far along in this Brexit journey. You know, the idea that Brexit is going to be done, we're like in episode 1 of a 10-season box set, and if you don't like what you've seen up to now, you don't have to watch the rest.
It's going to take us years to negotiate a new trade agreement. It took 7 years with Canada. And so the idea you're going to get it done through this is just simply a fantasy.
Nobody thinks a trade deal can be negotiated and agreed by the end of next year.
That's nonsense. We do.
You're not, well, yeah, but we know we don't trust you. Sorry, Richard.
Well, I don't trust you.
We don't trust you.
Well, I don't trust you because you don't trust democracy. You don't trust 17.4 million people.
Boris Johnson, of course, insists it is possible.
You said he couldn't get a Brexit deal, it would be impossible. But he did. He did get a great new deal, and he got it in 3 months. So you were wrong then, and you are wrong now.
No wonder people don't have faith in politicians when the leader of the Labour Party, the candidate to be Prime Minister, won't even tell us where he stands on this central question that's going to cast its shadow for a generation.
No, it's right that Jeremy acts as an honest broker in this, because he needs to get a good deal with the European Union. And I think stating how he would vote in a final public vote would undermine that.
As ever, this election's about the health service too.
The NHS is failing. What are you going to do to stop this and make sure it's not sold to the highest bidder?
The NHS is not for sale, never has been and never will be.
Documents
It's
were
not.
released.
Come on, be honest with people. It's
Let me
not up
finish.
for sale.
It's only polite to let me finish.
Stop scaremongering.
Documents were released this week that showed very clearly that the government had been involved in numerous discussions with US trade officials.
It's just a desperate conspiracy theory that we're absolutely crystal clear that NHS will not be on the table. The price the NHS pays for drugs will not be on the table.
When Boris Johnson says that the NHS is not on the table in a future trade deal, I simply do not trust him and I do not believe him.
Last, how would they greet the controversial visitor, Donald Trump?
If you had 30 seconds with him, what would you say?
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm a good Catholic, so I won't say in public what I probably would say to him.
Let's get a quick trade deal done.
And here's our NHS, that's what he would say.
Oh, nonsense. Stop this scaremongering. It's pathetic. Just lying to the British people continually. It's pathetic.
I think you've got form on that.
Adam Brutt.
Resign and take Boris with you.
At the end, there were some friends on stage, but they'd be wise to hug their political enemies closer still.
And there were certainly passionate arguments tonight, but no grand revelations that you think might really upset what have really been quite stable tram lines that have been running through this campaign. That finale there on Donald Trump's imminent visit, though, a reminder that there are plenty of events, Clive, left to go in what is now less than the final fortnight, when the public, in the end, on Thursday, in 10 days' time, will have made its decision.
OK, Laura, thank you. Laura Kuenssberg there, live in Cardiff.